Hi, parents. It's Elmika Henderson, the school counselor. So I hope you all are doing well and are staying healthy during this time of social distancing. Today, I wanted to present the first of a series of webinars discussing, of course, all things COVID 19, but also some parenting, some mindfulness, self care, and also internet safety. But today we will be talking about how to manage distance learning without losing your sanity. This presentation is adapted from a cartoon series that I saw on NPR's Life Kit. But I know that we've been doing some online schooling for a couple of weeks now, and I just wanted this to kind of serve as a resource for some and a reminder for others of things that we can do to make this time a bit more manageable and bearable for ourselves and our kids. These are really unprecedented times that we're going through right now, and we understand that we're all figuring this out as we go. But I wanted to offer some tips today about what might provide some ease and reassurance until we're able to go back to school. So the first thing to remember is that, online does not mean better. So there are loads of resources. The amount of resources that are out there are completely overwhelming. I know that your teachers have been sharing a lot of things with you guys. There's a lot of apps and websites and things like that. There's so many resources out there. We don't expect you guys to go through all of them and decipher what is good and what isn't. If you're wondering, what resources you can use to help your kids during this time, definitely reach out to your teachers, talk with other parents that are doing this also, but also just, reach out to the school or me even. There are a bunch of resources that I am putting together for a counseling website that that will help you all kind of filter in some of that. So I'm trying to curate a lot of resources so that you don't have to go looking with, 1,000 different places, but to be able to find some things all in one area and centrally located for you. So, be on the lookout for that in the next week or so. So the next thing you want to do is, or the first thing maybe, is to set up your space. So you want to designate an area or two, depending on how many kids you have. Designate an area or two for learning, and you want to keep it neat. You want to keep it organized. So if it's possible, if you have a computer and you have an iPad, designating only one device for learning and one device for recreation. Um, if it's possible. If you can't do that, then at least designate some times or block certain websites during a certain amount of time so that your kids don't get distracted by that. Especially if they're sharing devices and someone needs to get on something, you kind of block time out for just that thing. You can also use a tray or a basket to organize all of your school supplies and things that you may need so that you don't have to go looking for them during the school day. You also want to make sure that wherever your space is in a quiet space in the house. You want to make sure that it can consistently be quiet when the kids are doing their school day, so that it kind of minimizes distractions. You also want to see, for those of you who are working from home, you want to see if you can organize your conference calls or your work meetings around the learning time that you have for your kids. I know myself, I am working from home also with my son. And so, what I try to do is if I have meetings, I take them in another room so that it doesn't distract him. So, his workspace is in the desk that is in the living room area. And so that is the space that he sits. He doesn't do any work on the couch, he doesn't do any work in his bedroom. That we make that space just a learning space. So when he gets up and walks away from it, then he knows, okay, I'm taking a break or I'm going to eat or something like that. By doing so, you help to kind of neutralize all of the other areas. You don't want to be getting work done in the bedroom, but you want to make sure that it is the space that's learning. It helps train your brain and train your body to be prepared to learn. And that's what we want to do with our children. The next thing you want to do is set up your time schedule. Making sure that you kind of have a plan for the learning day, but also realizing that this is a very relaxed schedule. So you check in at the end of the day and see what worked and what didn't work, and then just adjust. So if your kids don't really, they're not really into math first thing in the morning, then you can adjust it and have them do some light reading, have them do some movement, some play in the morning until, and then structure the learning time after breakfast, or after lunch, even. It's totally up to you. But also understanding that, your kids only need about 2 to 4 hours of structured academic learning. So if you think about it, even though they're in the school building for 7.5 hours every day, they're not really learning all of the time. So they have that structured learning for about 2 to 4 hours, just depending on their grade level, where the other times they are in specials and they're doing art, or they're doing PE, or they're in recess, or there's different transitions. And so you want to make sure that you take some time for that. So scheduling in times to take a walk with them, or just to go outside, and get some fresh air, making sure that there's some time for them to sleep well. You may even have it where when they wake up is when the school day starts, that you don't wish to wake them up at 7 o'clock in the morning anymore, that you just want them to naturally wake up, and that's when you do it. That's totally fine. But the important thing right now is that you keep things flexible. One other thing is that you want to watch out for screen overload. So we're asking students to be online and on their computers and on their devices way more than they would be any other typical school day. And so some of the signs of screen overload are frequent, complaints of headaches, some irritability, trouble sleeping at night. You want to make sure that children are off of their devices about an hour before they go to bed, just so that they have time to kind of adjust, making sure that they do something that's, calming or relaxing. Not anything like television or iPads or computer games right before they go to bed. This will help them kind of get to sleep a little bit easier, and it will help reduce some of those symptoms. Another thing you want to kind of integrate into your schedule is to do some passion projects. Ask your children what they want to learn. So when children are doing something that they care about, you don't really have to poke and prod and fight with them to get it done. So whether it is baking, or building something, or a writing project, you want to see if, during this time of distance learning, that your kids can find something to do that they're really passionate about. you know a little bonus is you might get some time to yourself to be able to just get a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, and just be able to kind of take a break while your kids are engaged in this passion project. You know your kids more than anybody on this planet. Online learning is really difficult, and with knowing the type of learner that your kid is will really help you get through this time. There's some kids that you can give them their work and they will do well, just kind of getting through the worksheets or all of the things kind of independently, while other kids might need some extra help, and you'll have to sit with them in order for them to get things done. Knowing the type of learner that your child is and where they fall on the spectrum will make this time a little bit easier, so that you're not expecting your child who needs a little bit more encouragement to sit and do things independently, while also if you have a child that works really well independently, it can get a bit frustrating for both of you if you are kind of hanging over them and trying to get them to do their work. But knowing yourself and knowing your kids and where they fall on that spectrum will really help guide you through this online learning period. If you feel that your child needs a bit more extra help than you're able to provide, then please just reach out to us and let us know. You also want to be realistic. You know, we're not expecting you to homeschool your kids right now. None of you, or at least most of you, are not teachers. So we don't expect you to completely transform your home into a classroom environment or the same type of environment that they would have at school. The general rule that I am saying to parents and repeating to parents is that if this online learning or if any subject is going to cause severe emotional distress to you or your children or your family, then take a break from it. Walk away from it and try again, you know? But if your child is fighting you on something, then see if you can find another approach. Say, okay, let's take a break. Let's go take a walk, or let's go do some movement, or let's watch this video and do some yoga. And then see if you can come back to it. It might just be that they're tired or they're frustrated with having to sit for so long, but see if you can get them back to it. But if they continue fighting, it's totally okay. Talk with the teacher, talk with your child's teacher and see if you can find something else for them to do, or if you can get some extra help from them or the TA. You also want to be forgiving. One of the things about understanding where your capabilities are, um, and even just understanding how involved you can really be, it will help set you up, for success during this online learning. If you are really amazing at math, but you don't really know much about, history and social studies, like be honest about that. You know, if you're working from home or you still have to go into work and you're not able to be there physically with your child to help them learn, that's totally okay. Forgive yourself for the things that you can't do because no one expected for any of this to happen. We're all still figuring this out. And if you need some help, talk with your teachers, talk with the school if you need more flexibility for any reason, whether it's emotional or it is, time wise or logistics wise, let us know. Like, we're definitely flexible and we want to support you in any way possible. Finally, you want to take some time to shake your sillies out. I want you to remember to kind of take some of the pressure off of this online learning time and just take some downtime to be silly with your kids. You might actually enjoy it. I do something called a mindful dance party, and I'll post one of those videos soon. But it gives you just a break to be silly and goofy with your kids and have some fun and kind of break up the stress of the online learning environment, and then you now having to be the strict teacher parent at home. you know just take some time and be silly with your kids. I'm sure that they will appreciate it, and I think that you'll find some fun in it as well. Thank you so much for tuning into this webinar. I hope to create loads more for you guys, but please contact me if you need anything. My email is ehenderson@aisbmali.org. I've also created some office hours for parents. So every Wednesday from 4 to 6 p.m., you can go to this web address. It is on a platform called Doxy. So what you do is you just log in, and there's a waiting room. So if I'm with someone or I'm just logging in myself, then it's just as if you came into the school building and you wanted to meet with me and you needed to wait for a moment. But it's an online platform similar to Zoom or Google Meet, and where we can kind of talk securely and privately about any concerns that you have. But if you want to meet with me outside of these office hours, please send me an email and we can definitely schedule something to make that happen. So until next time, I hope you all stay safe and you be well. But please let us know if there's anything that we can do to make this online learning experience a little bit easier for you. So thank you. Bye bye.